Go.
Okay, so we're going to walk through how to switch an animal to a ventilator. What we have here is a mock patient using a 2-liter bag as a lung. This is the same thing you'll do if you want to test your ventilator to see if it's working. So if you have a patient on a ventilator, or pardon me, on a rebreathing circuit, first thing you want to do is identify where your breathing circuit tube is on your ventilator. And no matter what kind of ventilator it is, one of these tubes in back will be labeled breathing system. So if you have any question, everything else is either waste gas or driving gas. There'll be one that's marked breathing system. Find that tube, and that's the one that's going to tie into your current breathing circuit. It's going to go exactly where the bag currently is. And that'll work the same if you're on a non-rebreathing circuit. It's going to go where your bag currently is. So in order to switch, what you're going to do is turn off your flow rate. You're going to empty your bag so you don't dump any of the ISO into the room. Put your breathing tube from the ventilator where your bag was. So now your ventilator is in the breathing circuit. You're going to close the pop-off valve because now all the waste gas is going to go out the waste gas tube on the ventilator from here on out. You're going to turn your flow rate back up. You can turn it on high so that you can fill your bellows, and assuming you have your ISO on or your SIVO, whatever concentration you have it set at, it's going to fill at that concentration no matter how high you have your flow rate set at. So you can set it as high as you want. Over here, make sure you've got your respiratory rate set where you want. Usually it'll be around 15 if your animal's hyperventilating. Maybe you want to start a little high to try to catch it. And you want to make sure that your volume, your inspiratory volume, is turned all the way clockwise so that in case there's a large animal on here before you don't explode a cat when you turn this on. We're going to turn our flow rate back down to whatever we need for the patient we have. And we're going to turn on our ventilator, and it's going to scream to start out with until we get volume that's appropriate for the size of the circuit. What our goal is to reach a volume that's going to get us a pressure, peak inspiratory pressure of between 10 and 20 centimeters of water. So let's start screen. Start increasing our volume. See the needle starting to move. And once we get near the appropriate amount, the alarm goes off. That's a low pressure alarm. So now that we've got our inspiratory pressure, or peak inspiratory pressure above 10, we're within the acceptable range. So 10 is, for most species, is the minimum it takes to open out the alveoli. If you have an especially fat dog or animal that's got some, it's particularly heavy or it has some pneumonia, you might need to go higher than that to open everything up. 10 is our maximum peak inspiratory pressure, although for cats, some people recommend no more than 15, and when you deal with exotics, it might also be lower. If you want to estimate what your volume per breath is going to be, it's going to usually be 10 to 20 mils per kg per breath. What volume actually get is not so important as staying within this range, because that 10 to 20 mils per kg is very approximate, and it is affected quite a bit by conformation. If you're doing avian species, it'll be more like 20 to 30. And once you've got everything within range, i.e. you're breathing at a normal respiratory rate and you're between 10 and 20 centimeters of water, you base future adjustments on how your patient is doing, if their CO2 is appropriate and if their oxygen is appropriate. When you're done, turn it off. You open up your pop-off valve so the patient can exhale. You turn your flow rate down, remove the breathing circuit from the ventilator, and replace the bag, and you're ready to put them back on the rebreathing circuit. And that's it.